Steve Dotto here. How the heck you doing this fine day? Me? I have absolutely no idea what I am doing. I am about to delve into a space that people my age just probably aren't supposed to be delving into. You and I are going to take a look at Snapchat. Now, here's the backstory. I was over in Victoria, British Columbia this past week speaking at a conference, and all of these Snapchat people were there. The Subi Zimmermans and the iSocial fans, Brian Fanzos, and all of these sorts were there. And they made me play with Snapchat. And I kind of like it. I don't know what I'm doing, but I kind of like it. So today, you and I, on Dotto Tech, are going to explore Snapchat. Snapchat has a bit of a reputation as being an app that's more for the kids than it is for the adults. It started out as a video and image messaging app, which had a very unique attribute in the fact that the messages self-destructed after just a few seconds. So you can imagine what that led to as far as messages being exchanged between pubescent young people. Having said that, the app has grown quite a bit. And despite the fact that for business, it is incredibly limited as far as how much information it gives us about who is viewing and what is being done with our snaps, which is what we call our little communications, it has nevertheless captured the imagination of young and old. And the reason is the intimacy of communication. The fact that you are recording quick little video snippets, sending them back and forth that are designed just for you or I to consume. There's also a narrative aspect of Snapchat, which is something called a snap story, where you take a series of public snaps, put them together, and give people sort of backstage access to your life, which is how I've been sort of playing with using it. So there's not one fixed way of using it, but think of it as a messaging app with some unique characteristics. Now, unfortunately, I would say it's not the easiest app to master. It's very almost ADHD in its design, because you go from a messaging area here, which basically is where all of your messages from individuals are contained, but you get very little information about those messages here, just basically who they are from. And of course, if you happen to have looked at a video that somebody sent you, it's gone, so you have to make sure you view it in the moment. This might be part of the appeal. It also might be part of the frustration, depending on what side of the fence you sit on. Typically speaking, this is the main Snapchat interface right here, which is just basically a recording screen. This is what you're brought into, and you can record either a video snap by pressing and holding that button, and you can record up to 10 seconds at a time, or you can record a photo. And if we just record a quick photo, well, you see there that I've got the photo, and then you've got the ability to add little graphic, little emoticons. You know, you can add them, you can choose anything on the screen in the Snapchat, and you can scale it. I should be able to scale that. There we go. I'm making it bigger by pinching, and I can actually, there we go. Steve with sunglasses on. That looks absolutely ridiculous, but I might want to have a happy face. You can rotate it down there in the bottom. You can add text to the screen, and if you add text this way. Loving it. Loving it. Now, if you just leave it like this, it'll appear as a band, but if you tap on the letter T again, which is the text tool, it then brings up a nice bigger graphic of it, which you can do all of the same sorts of things with. So it's quite a flexible and fun interface to work with. You can also draw in it, which I won't do, because as bad as I am at using Snapchat, I'm worse at drawing. Once you have all of these different pieces in place, you can then hit on the little plus button down there at the bottom, and that will publish it to your story. If you were just communicating with an individual, you would have started out by addressing something to an individual. Then the forward area will then send it to that particular person. I'm going to delete this though, and I'm going to swipe down on the screen, and that brings us into the management area for Snapchat. And there we see the Snap code. This is integral to Snapchat because Snapchat is not the strongest tool for sharing and for acquiring followers just virally. But using the Snap code, this is a graphic, this is actually a QR code that people can capture by pointing their camera or their Snapchat or their camera at your snap code, taking the picture, and then snap code will go into your camera roll, and it will then register you or subscribe to somebody using their snap code. So you see people using snap codes in Facebook and other places. And believe it or not, people aren't clicking on them and having it then access their Snapchat account. No, no, no. It's almost an analog process where you point your camera at the screen, you take a picture of the QR code, and that's what registers you. It's actually pretty funky how it all works. You can also add friends from your address book, and normal invites go out. So you can start the growth of your community that way. But for real growth, the snap codes are the way to go. And people have, and you hear Snapchatters always talking about grabbing the screen or taking a screenshot, and they will often take screenshots of other Snapchatters QR codes so that they can then subscribe, and it's the way that they basically share ongoing information. It's very manual, and when you think about how unelegant it is compared to just normal hyperlinks within text pages, it's almost amazing that Snapchat has taken off. I'm a little bit shocked at it. Now, I have fun with it because the Snap stories, those little stories that you see, are 10-second bursts. So they're like jump cut videos, which for somebody like me is manna because it allows me to be quirky. It allows me to be a little bit different. And I can easily come up with 10-second thoughts where thinking about longer periods of time sometimes can be a bit of a challenge. At any rate, that's the Snap. That's kind of the interface with this. Manages our chat, swiping to the right side, swiping back to the middle brings us into the content creation area, as it were, where we create our videos or our images. Let's just do a quick video, and I'll record the quick video. You see as I'm pressing down on the button, the video is recorded. Then you can view it back, and all of the same things. Now, the audio, for some reason, just because of my setup here, isn't coming through right away. It'll probably kick in a second. But all of those same graphic things that we talked about of adding text and adding graphics all works. Now, when you @mention somebody or add a graphic, they don't get automatic notification of it through the normal social channels. It's not like Twitter where somebody @mentions you, you will get notification. They have to see it in the graphic in order for the @mentioning to work. Again, how in the world is this product growing virally the way it is? It is beyond me, yet here it is. Oh, I know what I need to show you. Once you've recorded a video, then you start adding filters. Filters are huge in Snapchat. Now, the typical filters of making things black and white and sepia toned and that sort of stuff happen when you swipe to the left. But if you swipe to the right, you get other informational geo filters, they're called, such as locations. Now, when you're at an event, people can actually purchase geotags for that event, and they can have them designed. They're basically transparent graphics that they can design and they can have as part of the event. So savvy Snapchatters will then swipe to the left to see what's advertising, what's supporting graphic. If you're at a concert, the band will often get a geotag or a geo filter, I think they're called. And you swiped and you find the cool one that fits with your look, and then you add it. But there also are things like speed up and slow down filters that cause the video to run faster and slower. A time geo filter, or filter, I guess it's not a geo filter, it's a time filter at this point here. Now, why would you want that? The Snap stories that we create, these series of stories that you stitch together, they only last for 24 hours. So sometimes it's good to give people a frame of reference of when they're looking at the story. Like first thing in the morning, if it says 6:30 a.m., you realize it's the start of the day. It's the start of that narrative, the start of that story. So that gives you those sorts of things, that sort of feedback as well. The temperature outside you get as well, and also the velocity that you are. Like, see lots of people snapping pictures in airplanes going 600 kilometers an hour in Canada. They might only be going 400 miles per hour, but it's 600 kilometers an hour. So you have all of access to all of these additional filters. So over time, you'll get fairly conversant in applying extra layers to the content in Snapchat. At the end of the day, though, if you're sending it to just one person, it's going to be seen once, and then it's going to disappear. And that's where the magic of Snapchat really comes. We've talked about all the negatives as far as sharing and viral growth. But there's a real intimacy to you sending me a quick little video message saying, hey, Steve, looking forward to meeting next week, and me being able to send that message back to you saying, I am looking forward to it as well. That intimacy of a little video communication, or you can also use text or photos, but that intimacy of communication seems to me the thing that is making Snapchat that's making Snapchat valuable. Plus, the pressure that's basically put upon you to pay total attention to that momentary communication, because once you've seen it once, it's gone. And so in this ADHD world, this always-on world where we're so distracted, if you are consuming a snap, you have to concentrate on that because you're not going to be able to go back to it later. I'm pretty sure that many of us, as we're reading our email or even looking at text messages, will just glance at it, not really think about it, but then move on to the next one and just kind of breeze by it or scan past. You don't want to do that in Snapchat, because if you scan past, you haven't paid attention, you've lost the moment. And so it forces us to focus a little bit as well. Once you've created and posted all of your videos, I'm just going to cross out of this one here. If I swipe to the right, we see this is where we go to view people's stories. And my story's at the top, and then other people who I'm following, their stories are down below here so we can watch what they have to say. Now, the cool thing is anytime anybody that you're following posts a new chapter to their story, their name pops to the top of the list. And when you start watching any one person's story, where you tap on it, let's take a look at what Ryan's doing here. Where you tap on it, you pick up where they left off last time. So you can watch them, you can listen, you can hear what they have to say. For some reason, because I'm plugged into the USB, the audio does not seem to be working. You can tap through from one part of the story to the next part of the story. So just by tapping, you can skip and you can see the next one. Now I'm missing all of Ryan's here because we are missing the audio, and it doesn't seem to be kicking in. I'm pretty sure that, as I say, that's because I'm plugged in and we're recording as we're going along. But this gives you an idea of how we consume these stories. Now, on the administrative side, that's the consumption side, if I tap on the three little dots next to my story, you can see all of the different chapters of my story. And if I start out right here, here's the oldest one here. And if you look at the numbers to the right, you can see I'm just starting out. There's 27 people who have viewed it. You can only see how many people have viewed. Snapchat doesn't tell us how many people are following us, only how many people have seen any one particular video, or how many people have captured a screen, taken a screenshot. And I've only had one of those, but I haven't done very many calls to action. I haven't gotten to the business side of it yet. But if you want to take a look, there's my video from yesterday as I was talking while I was waiting to pick up my daughter from her voice lesson. And we can take a look at the next video afterwards. So you can see that the chapters are all laid out. Now, once we reach 418 today, it's Tuesday, and we see this one here says Monday at 418. Once we reach Tuesday, that chapter, that time on Tuesday, after 24 hours, that chapter will drop off. Now, we can download it and save it to our camera roll, and then you can repurpose this content should you choose. And I'm just trying to get my head around that. It is early days for me here on Snapchat. And I don't know what else I want to say about it. I like it. I still don't 100% get it. I'm trying to figure out how it's going to work in my business, having communication with so few people. Through applications like YouTube and Twitter and even Facebook, I'm used to building my brand by communicating one to many. And there's a chance that Snapchat is just all about personal. But people who know what they're talking about, people like Brian Fanzo, Sue Zimmerman, I'm hearing from them that Snapchat is a tool that's valuable for business. So I am willing to give it a good shot because I kind of have fun while I'm doing it. Here's my Snapchat code, should you choose to want to follow me. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this demo, my Snapchat for Old Farts demo. I hope you found it useful, and I hope that you end up following me on Snapchat. Let me know what you think of it. I love to see your comments about Snapchat here in the comments area in YouTube. I imagine some of you just don't get it, and don't feel bad if you just don't get it. I didn't get it. Still not sure I do get it, but at least I'm starting to understand it. Can't even say I understand it 100% at this point. There's 3 ways for you to stay in touch with me other than Snapchat. The first is subscribe to this channel, this YouTube channel. The second is I'd love you to subscribe to our newsletter so I can let you know about any upcoming tutorials and events that we have. And finally, Dotto Tech is a community-funded channel supported through the generosity of you folks through our crowdfunding site at Patreon. I encourage you to drop by our Patreon page, have a look, and see what perks are included in supporting Dotto Tech, and those perks be awesome. This is Steve Snapper Dotto. Till next time, have fun storming the castle.